Kourtney has cut off all contact with her mother, Kris, after a sad incident occurred. "I don't want her around me anymore, and I never want to speak to her again," Kourtney revealed. Despite being Kris Jenner's firstborn child, Kourtney's relationship with Kris has always been very complicated. They've had several serious altercations since the family's reality show was launched back in 2007. So what happened? Let's start with some context. To give you just a few examples, during season 1 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kourtney wanted to get married in Las Vegas to her now ex-boyfriend Scott Disick. However, Kris talked her out of it, saying that it's a family thing and everyone had to be there, and that Kourtney shouldn't want to get married that way. In hindsight, this was a good decision because Scott wasn't the one, but the point is that Kris was always trying to get into Kourtney's business and control her. Kourtney seemed really happy with Scott back then, and they both wanted to tie the knot, and yet Kris made it all about her and everyone else, instead of making it about Kourtney and Scott. Besides that, it seems like Kourtney still holds a lot of resentment towards Kris because Kourtney was very close to her late father, Robert Kardashian Sr., and Kris broke up the family when she cheated on Robert with former professional soccer player Todd Waterman during one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kourtney and Kris had an explosive argument over Kris's affair after Kris tried to compare her cheating with Todd to Kourtney having a relationship with her then-boyfriend Eunice Benjima. But as Kourtney pointed out, her situation with Eunice was completely different because she wasn't married to Scott. They weren't even in a relationship at the time. Also keep in mind that Kourtney was 12 years old when her father Robert divorced Kris, which means she probably vividly remembers how much pain and drama Kris caused to the family with her affair, and it's really messed up for Kris to compare what she did to Kourtney dating Eunice. But this wasn't the only time Kris tried to humiliate Kourtney on their reality show. After Kourtney finally ended things with Scott for good, Kris suddenly started pressing her to get married to Scott, and Kardashian fans speculated that Kris only wanted Scott to stay around because he was entertaining for the show. Even after Kourtney made it clear that she wanted to date someone else after spending years being on and off with Scott, Kris still tried to shame her for trying to live her life. And as you all probably know, Kris manages all of her children and apparently takes 10% from the children's businesses. Kourtney herself hired Kris to manage her back in 2008. However, it seems like Kris never trusted Kourtney to make it big, and she decided to focus on her two most profitable daughters, Kim and Kylie. Kris even missed Kourtney's first ever photo shoot as her manager, because back then she was still busy trying to push Kim into the spotlight, following Kim's private tape scandal. Kourtney even tried to fire Kris 3 or 4 times. Rumors went around that Kourtney finally managed to escape Kris's clutches and got herself a new manager. Apparently, this didn't go over too well with Kris, and fans speculated that Kris ignored Kourtney on purpose and refused to promote her business ventures just because she couldn't beg her 10%. These rumors first started circulating back in April 2022, when Kris shared a promo photo of Hulu's The Kardashians and tagged every family member except Kourtney. Instead of tagging Kourtney's personal Instagram account, Kris tagged Kourtney as Hulu. Fans immediately started speculating that Kris and Kourtney had a falling out, some even claiming that Kourtney blocked Kris on Instagram. Kris also didn't post any photos of Kourtney at the 2022 Oscars, despite Kourtney being the first Kardashian member to attend the event. And then, just a few months later, Kourtney appeared on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, and she revealed that a lot has changed in terms of the Kardashian family dynamics since she got married to Travis. She even threw some subtle shade at her sisters Kim and Khloe for ganging up on her. She also added that they're in different places, and family life is simply not the same anymore. Before we continue, like this video and subscribe to our channel to be informed about new juicy Kardashian updates. Right after Kourtney's comments went viral, a lot of fans said that Kim and Khloe were jealous of Kourtney because she found love and got married. Plus, ever since Kourtney started dating Travis, she's been even more unbothered and confident than usual, which must irritate Kim and Khloe. Kourtney hasn't talked to Kris in months. Kris completely ignored the launch of Kourtney's Lemmy Per gummies, but she continued to post every Skims, Good American and Kylie Cosmetics drop. Kris has also been heavily promoting Kendall's tequila brand 818 Tequila, and she even manages her reclusive son Rob's Instagram account. Kris is all about the cash, and she's mad that she can't make 10% from Kourtney's business ventures. That's why Kris refuses to promote Kourtney's businesses, because even if she no longer manages Kourtney, she doesn't want to help out her own daughter. Fans dragged Kris and the rest of the Kardashian sisters for ignoring Kourtney, and they're calling them hypocrites because they've been shaming Kourtney for years for not having a business and accusing her of being lazy. But now that Kourtney started something of her own without her mom's help, they're showing zero support. Sources close to Kourtney are saying that she's as unbothered as ever and is enjoying the peace and quiet that comes from not dealing with the family on a daily basis. Kourtney decided to distance herself from her mum because Kris never treated Kourtney the same as her other daughters. Kris resents Kourtney for not making it easy for her to manipulate her decisions in her career and personal life. Kim and the others are her puppets and moneymakers, while Rob and Kourtney live life on their terms. Since Kourtney began going to therapy, she has been open about how she's managed to notice her family's toxic dynamics and behavioral patterns. But most of Kourt's family members have made it known over the years that they're not quite as keen to seek therapy when it comes to working on themselves. Nonetheless, Kourtney has continued to try to explain the importance of therapy to her family members numerous times over the years. She tried to talk about therapy with Kris several times, but Kris cut her off and diverted the topic every time. This left Kourtney unable to discuss her issues with Kris. Kourtney revealed that she tried to talk to Kris about this one last time to improve their relationship. But a major argument arose, with Kris indicating that Kourtney should not be so sensitive and family should always be number one. Kourtney became so angry that she immediately broke off contact for good. "She never listens to my feelings. I've been trying to make this clear for years, but nothing changes," Kourtney told an insider. "My mum is a massive control freak, and I think that we all get a bit of controlling nature from her. When I'm around her, it makes me never want to be that way. I don't feel loved, appreciated, or respected by my mother. For now, I want to focus on myself and my kids. I want a peaceful life with people who love me," Kourtney revealed.